Live from deep in an underground bunker in East Tennessee, this is America's premier mortgage field services expert, Paul Williams.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of Foreclosurepedia podcast. Foreclosurepedia podcast is a presentation of the Foreclosurepedia radio network, which premieres each weekend. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I come to you to speak about COVID-19. COVID-19, the coronavirus. Now, usually I keep most of the podcasts these days over on the Foreclosurepedia Industry Insider. But I felt it was time for me to come forward and speak with you tonight about COVID-19 and about its impact, its potential impact, not only upon our industry, the mortgage field services industry, but society at large. And as I sit out there today and I'm watching all the news, and I'm watching the panic, and I'm watching all the food and all the cleansers and everything run off the shelves. You know what I think? I think about us as an industry. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. And that's fact. That's fact, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to preface tonight's podcast that I'm releasing to the public by actually giving a good word about the National Association of Mortgage Field Services. NAMFS, whose executive director is Eric Miller. NAMFS had a call. Mr. Miller, he and I have not seen eye to eye on everything from day to day. However, Mr. Miller is working with a toolbox that he has that is limited. He's working with funds that are limited. And Mr. Miller reached out to the regionals and the nationals, and he had a conference call. Mr. Miller is taking the initiative, excuse me, in an attempt to try to bring people together to get information out on behalf of labor. He's bringing management together in an attempt to try to get consensus, ladies and gentlemen. And you all know me. You've known me for over a decade now. And I believe in that time you know that I have never, in any way, shape, or form, attempted to misguide the Foreclosurepedia nation. I do humbly believe, I believe it in the very marrow that is inside of my bones, that Mr. Miller is doing the best that he can. And I think tonight is a time not to have rhetoric, ladies and gentlemen. I think tonight is a time we must circle the wagons. We must come together, not only as a nation, but as an industry. And tonight I speak to you about the industry, the mortgage field services industry, ladies and gentlemen. And my hat is off to Eric Miller. For he did have that call, and Carolyn Reeves, Mortgage Contracting Services, MCS, who recently bought out M&M Mortgage. Everybody remembers M&M. The brothers down there. Jorge, my hat's off to you, sir, because I remember back in the time, sir, you could have filed bankruptcy, and you did not, and you kept the company alive for labor. We all remember Juan Gonzalez and everybody down there. But here, Mr. Miller did convene a call in an attempt to get consensus. And Carolyn Reeves, in her snide way, chose to look down her nose, not just at Mr. Miller, who was merely attempting to do what was best for the industry, but best for the nation. And she had the gall to offend Eric Miller by saying, you're not the Mortgage Bankers Association. You're not Fannie Mae. You're not the United States government. And I cannot, I don't think, really mimic her tone of voice. But you know what? Fuck her. Fuck MCS, and labor should ensure that they walk. I cannot call a strike tonight. However, ladies and gentlemen, I can say that Mr. Miller, everybody's hat should be off to him. With that said, we do have COVID-19. Now I'm going to say some things tonight that may very well shake the core of everybody if that monologue I just finished did not. For here the great Satan has stated clearly, my hat off is to Eric Miller, and I think we all need to cross the aisle, if you will. I think we should bring bipartisan support between labor and management, because management has something that they have never encountered before. There is no business continuity plan that would ever anticipated this. And you know what? As our fellow brothers and sisters out there who are in the restaurant industry, the hospitality industry, as they no longer have employment, we do. And we are a, quote, essential, end quote, industry. We will have the ability to move and traverse. We will have the ability to make money. And management, and you know me, I am not a fan of management unless it crosses that aisle to shake hands with labor. Management is going to ensure that the lifeblood of those work orders continue to flow. I do believe that. I have been in concert and speaking with high-level officials. Let me throw out something else that's going to shake everybody to their core tonight. Safeguard Properties. Safeguard Properties did an about-face on COVID-19. They actually took the time to put it into their database the ability to not touch the door. You have a drop-down menu now with COVID-19. You can put that in there. But I want to give a special shout-out to a man by the name of Brian Lizkowski. ZVN Properties, never met the man. And I apologize, I have a little bit of a cough. I'm not going to die. I know many of you all out there who listen to me on the side wish I would, but I'm not going to tonight. ZVN published an update on 19 March 2020. I'll tell you why I was so highly impressed about it. It not only stated and acknowledged the concerns that many people have out there. It stated you have the ability to make a new selection. I'm going to quote here, order completed during COVID-19 pandemic, end quote. Now, the interesting thing that I found as I read through this 2-page memo was the fact that ZVN took the time actually to speak with labor. Now, in this memo, and everybody sends a memo, actually took the time to listen to what labor had to say. And I'm going to quote here. Some inspection types require a photo label, quote, door card, end quote, to complete the order. I received a great recommendation from one of our inspectors to have a printed paper that states, quote, could not deliver door card due to COVID-19 outbreak, end quote. Now, you know what that communicates to me is that management is communicating with labor. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? We all have to get through this. We don't have to get through it on the terms of Carolyn Reeves, nor anybody at MCS. But the rest of us in the real world, we have to get through this. So my hat's off. Brian Lizkowski had never met the man. This is a memo that came out from ZVN Properties. I believe they're out of Ohio. It's a good company. But I want to go a little bit deeper tonight and give some other accolades. Zome did an about face today that's spelled XOME, X-Ray Oscar Mike Echo. Got a couple other companies out there that have been doing really, really good. Y'all remember me at the end of the day. In January, I'm the one who brought up the issue of coronavirus. And I said it was coming to our shores. And I said it was going to get bad. Those of you who are members of the International Association of Field Service Technicians, you've seen it in our Facebook groups. You knew I called the shot almost 11 months ago, and I said the Dow would crash, and it has. But what we have to really take under consideration is whether or not that crash is going to maintain, which I do not believe it will. I believe we will plateau by July. I believe we all work through it. But I'm going to give you a United States government agency that if they stop working, you should stop working. And that's the United States Postal Service. Come rain, sleet, or snow, they deliver mail. They have to touch the mail. They deliver the mail. They have to drop off express packages. Billions of pieces per year flow through it. Matter of fact, and I've relocated, put together a new bunker up here outside of Washington, D.C., ladies and gentlemen, because I had to ensure that on behalf of the IAFST, on behalf of the Foreclosurepedia Nation, I was close enough to the seat of power to understand talent on loan from God. Now, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, if the post office stops delivering your mail, you should become afraid. If I was president, I'm ex-military, and I would never question my commander-in-chief. I would have told everybody, a lot of people are going to get sick. A lot of people are going to die. Because, look, other than maybe by a 0.3 to a 0.4 percentage in mortality, it's no different than influenza. It isn't. You should not be afraid. I'm not saying that I would trust Eric Miller with my life. I am saying, though, that I would trust Eric Miller and NAMFS with my son's life. These are individuals whom I believe in this instant case have the best interests of our nation and of the industry at heart. With respect to that, we must all be vigilant. I'm not going to bore you with the CDC guidelines. I'm not going to tell you that the world's going to be a great place. I think we're going to see 27 to perhaps 38% unemployment. By Thursday of next week, every person who has filed taxes this year or last year, you have $1,000 per adult, $500 per child, and that's not going to do jack shit. You know that? Gas will potentially hit 99 cents a gallon. Probably in 14 states, but that's not going to help you. But I'm speaking to you tonight, not just as the great Satan, not just as the editor-in-chief of Foreclosurepedia, not just as the press secretary of the International Association of Field Service Technicians. I speak to you tonight as a fellow worker with you and as a friend of labor. Never allow a man or a woman upon your job site, inside your vehicle, or in your home, unless that individual is a friend of labor. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do my best, and I function on a very marginal amount of money. I think last month's donations were about $38, but you know what? It keeps the ship floating. I'm going to try to pump the information out there, and I think we need to do the best things that we can do to facilitate management's ability to continue to get the work orders out there. What I need from you, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, if you have a company that's not going to pay you, I need to know about that. And we need to get that out immediately, because that kind of bullshit is not good. For example, VRM, which does all the work for the Veterans Administration. I'm going to quote here. As you know, we continue to monitor and adjust to the ever-changing environment due to COVID-19. Please know we are doing everything we can to limit the amount of disruptions to our vendors, however, effective immediately. VRM's check payment abilities will be limited, resulting in potential delays in receipt of payments. If you're getting a check, you're not going to get fucking paid. They do say, though, that ACH payments will not be affected. I don't know. That's their quote, not mine, ladies and gentlemen. And we must be ever vigilant. Get that to me. If there's somebody not paying you, if you have an issue, get it to me. We have reached out to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, to a senior HUD official in an attempt to get letters patent with respect to the fact that we are an essential industry. That would give us the ability to function not only under a plethora of laws, but also under the Defense Productions Act. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a privilege and an honor to serve you for over a decade now. Let us come together as one, and let me leave you with this. Years ago, in the middle of the fraud, there was a man by the name of Brett Douglas, Ironclad out of Florida. And Brett Douglas reached deep into his wallet and helped people make utility payments. Many of you who listen to my voice tonight do not remember that day. I remember that man. I met that man. I shook that man's hand. Let us do this for each other. When we know that somebody has issue and it has been cleared through the IAFST, let us reach across the aisle and continue to assist each other in making this industry great again. MIGA. That's why I use that hashtag, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the time is 18:59 hours, Eastern Daylight Time. The date is 19 March 2020. We will make this through. I believe this will simulcast in approximately 2 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a good evening. Thank you. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. As usual, you may reach me on Google Plus at D. Paul Williams, LinkedIn, Paul Williams, and the LinkedIn group Property Preservation Consortium, Twitter, Foreclosurepedia. We stream all our podcasts on iTunes, Foreclosurepedia. We have our screencasts over on YouTube, the Foreclosurepedia channel, and always at foreclosurepedia.org. We'd like to give a special shout out to Amazon.com, whom provides our S3 podcast and video storage, and Cloudflare for hosting Foreclosurepedia in 24 different geo-positioned servers, pro bono as well. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to give me a shout out, COO at foreclosurepedia.org.